really push diverse programming, really, think outside the box, and I think we're already doing that, and I'm quite looking forward to seeing what we have got under our belts by February. I think we can really, really do it, and we have a fantastic team as well, really good team. The achievements of last year's bunch of people.
And so for the viewers at home, you can access via the Xpress website?
Yeah, it's a digital radio station, so you can listen online at www.expressradio.co.uk. There's no E on the Express.
Yeah.
So it's just Xpress. Because we're edgy.
Because we're colloquial.
That's it. That's it.
Indeed.
And to get involved, you could just find us on Facebook or find us on Twitter. On Facebook, it's just facebook.com/Xpress Radio, and on Twitter we're at Xpress Radio. If you want to get involved, it's not too late. Come have a chat. We'd love for you to get involved some way, and we also want more ideas, obviously, because we're trying to think outside the box, but we're sure. I'm sure there's someone who could think of more than me, because I'm just a silly guy with a hat.
They're being modest now. Silly guy with a hat that manages to achieve.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to see us. Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we have a Vox Pop. This is about the the proposed merger between the law school and the politics school, as featured in Gareth this week. So,
as you can see,
as seen on the front cover. So we'll run that Vox Pop.
I suppose it makes sense. I mean, I probably associate law and politics more than I'd associate sort of politics and languages.
As a law and politics student, I'm probably well placed to comment on the situation. I mean, at the beginning of the year, law set out your timetable very clearly. They give it to you early, whereas politics, there's a process of signing up for modules, which there's a bit of a delay. And so given that the majority of my degree is a law degree and 1/5 of it is politics modules, it gets a bit confusing at the beginning of the year as to prioritising times and things.
Yeah, I'm kind of in favour of politics merging into law. I'm not a law student myself, but seems a bit strange that it's part of the languages department at the moment.
It depends what reason they're giving. Like, if we're going to see a real improvement in administration at the university, like if it actually makes things slightly easier for like academic staff and students, then that's great. You know, if they consolidate their resources, I can't see how it could be a bad thing. However, if it just leads to like further staff cuts, then I think it's only going to make a problem where people are, you know, they're already paying higher fees, etc., etc. Like, they're just going to feel even worse about it. I understand that some of the law students are a bit worried about it damaging the reputation of the law school, but I think most people who perhaps would be concerned with that would be aware of the distinction between the courses.
As an NCAP student, I don't really give a monkeys.
They're very closely related subjects, and you find that a lot of law students also take politics modules. It's also nice to sort of have everything in one place rather than walking backwards and forwards between different buildings, different lecture theatres. But the key fundamental benefit or bonus, I suppose, of the two schools joining is the communication between the two, so that timetables, materials and exams are all much more closely linked.
Okay, and we're back. So I hope you enjoyed that. We have just been informed there might be some sound problems, so we do apologise for that. We're going to carry on anyway. So we've actually got some headlines for you this week from World News. So do you want to start us off?
Oh, from World News headlines. Well, what can we say? There was the Arsenal-Man United game, and as a Gooner myself, I can say I was rather disappointed this Sunday while I was eating my Sunday roast and drinking a pint of Carling to know that Van Persie scored a header off Wayne Rooney. So we lost 1-0. Arsenal lost 1-0 to Man United. As you can imagine, I went home and I tore up my Emirates t-shirt. But it's just the way it is sometimes. It's just the way it is.
Also, a humanitarian disaster hits the Philippines. We got on Friday, Typhoon Haiyan swept through the central Philippines, killing at least 2,200 people.
Well, what about the headline on the Toronto mayor? He still refuses to resign. Last week, Rob Ford, the mayor of Toronto, admitted that he smoked crack cocaine.
Yeah, that probably doesn't go down well.
No, not as the mayor of Toronto, no. And several weeks after rumours of him taking drugs, the story received worldwide coverage in the week, and the reactions have been, as you can imagine, slightly mixed, perhaps. Ford is still refusing to resign, despite several protests that took place.
So you imagine when you voted for your mayor, that's not something you'd expect him to do. Okay, so we now have a short video for you on the Student Senate, which are elected members. So the Student Senate, if you remember, the Student Senate nominations took place earlier this term, and then we got elected members. So we're actually just going to show you a video on how that works and some of the things they might have passed, etc. So run video.
Hi, I'm Rachel Jones and I'm Students with Disabilities Officer, and as part of my role I sit on the Student Senate. The Student Senate is made up of 8 part-time officers, 2 full-time officers in rotation, 20 elected student senators and 10 random students that are invited to the Senate. Within the Senate we have motions submitted and we discuss whether they are in the best interests of the students and whether they should be passed, or in some cases whether we are not in a position to pass them but whether we can support them if they get put to higher student bodies, for example the annual members meeting which is happening next week.
Right, we're here outside CF10, which is where Student Senate convenes every 3rd Tuesday, and the first Student Senate that we had, we discussed a variety of different agendas. We consulted on changes to the Memorandum and Articles of Association and Ordinance 13. This was voted on, 26 approved, mainly because it was a very specific legislative decision where student trustees are now available at Cardiff Students' Union in order to sit on the trustee board. This is the first time that students have been eligible to be a trustee. Also, what was proposed was for the Students' Union to be a living wage employer. This means that all staff get paid at least £7.65 per hour. and that is obviously something which was passed through by Student Senate. Obviously that will be taken to the Board of Trustees, and they will decide whether it's pragmatically, financially viable as a policy. We also banned the promotion of cruel sports. This effectively was renamed as a policy that we do not advertise or promote horse racing, greyhound racing, animal circuses or pets as prizes. That was put forward by the president of the Animal Rights Society. We've also put forward a motion of stop Saturday exams. Now this was passed through Student Senate but now has to go on to Academic Council, where student reps decide, dependent on the different courses that are available, whether or not that it's pragmatically viable, because obviously some courses require Saturday exams because they have so many contact hours during the week that there is no other alternative. So the Vice President Education was mandated by Student Senate in order for that to be passed to Academic Council. And the final policy was gender equality of the Student Senate. This went through with 20 approving and 4 rejecting for next year's Student Senate to have a 50% quota of women.
So at the moment, the Student Senate is made up majority of men, which is quite an unbalanced representation of the university population, which is actually 60% female and 40% male. So the motion got put through that 10 seats on the Senate will be reserved for female candidates, and this motion is going to be in place for 3 years, after which it will relapse. So it goes back to whoever wants to sit on the Senate can sit on the Senate if they're voted in. Okay.
So due to the technical difficulties that may have occurred before, we're just going to pop back to Sam Lloyd now, the Deputy Station Manager at Xpress Radio, and he's just going to remind us what they managed to achieve at the Student Radio Association Awards.
Hi Sam. So rather than talking in mime this time, we'll actually listen.
I like to do that sometimes. I just like to talk without the sound. I like to challenge people.
It shakes things up a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's hashtag edgy. You know. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go on. Tell us about the awards.
Yeah, not everyone at Xpress is this much of a loser, but on Thursday we went to London for an award ceremony, Student Radio Association Awards, and we picked up 2 massive boosts in the form of awards. And
what were them 2 awards?
It was the silver in Best Live Event or Outside Broadcast for Varsity last year, which is a brilliant highlight of the year.
Huge sports event.
Yeah, and loads of people were listening in, so it's really good to get a bit of credit for that. And the team worked really hard last year. And I can't help but feel a little bit responsible because I was the official Xpress Radio correspondent for the greatest sport in the world, ultimate frisbee.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, Sam, it was all down to you then. Down to you.
I like to sort of give myself a pat on the back, No, it wasn't me. And then bronze in the best station, so we're the 3rd best student radio station in the UK, which is huge.
That's
amazing.
Absolutely fantastic.
Massive boost to everything we're doing right now. Bit of pressure, but it's mainly motivation. I've never been more motivated for anything in my life, so it's feeling good, feeling really good.
Was there a few parties then back in London, or did
slightly
you take it easy, or?
Bit of free wine?
Free wine. Right.
We stayed in a hostel, and we might have annoyed them a bit just because we came so late, and most people there were like travelling or whatever. But it's a really weird city, London, because you're travelling for an hour and you're still within. It's weird to get on the train and travel on the train for about 20 minutes, and you're still in the same city. It's a weird concept. But yeah, it was not so much a party, more definitely a celebration. I'd say definitely a celebration of what we do and what we aim to keep doing. And it's a bit of pressure, but we know how to sort of go about improving and stuff. The production value across the board is great, so we really want to push the content side of it. We want people to bring interesting ideas, and with the people we have at Xpress this year, there's absolutely no reason we can't do that because they're all brilliant.
And could you remind us how we can listen to Xpress Radio?
You can tune into Xpress Radio, James. It's digital radio station, so you can tune in on www.expressradio.co.uk. You can also get involved with the shows. There's a lot of interactive features and whatever, and also find out who's on Twitter, which is @expressradio, and on Facebook, which is facebook.com/expressradio. And I'd seriously recommend something for the weekend, 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoons.
So we'll all tune into that, we'll be sure. Thank you so much for talking to us again, Sam.
No worries, mate.
Okay.
Always
thanks.
a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Right, so now we're going to go back to our original schedule. We're going to now talk about the annual members meeting, which is taking place next Thursday, the 21st of November, in the Great Hall at 6 p.m.
It is a really important meeting and all students are invited to attend. They are still accepting motions, so it would be good to encourage viewers to submit one if they feel that something needs to change, which is you guys.
So previous motions have been things like boycotting Nestle products,
which you were devastated about, was you not?
I do like a Yorkie.
When he walked into WH Smith's and could not find his Yorkie.
But I'm coping. I am coping. It's a good motion. I do see why. So but they also do other things such as introducing real ale into the TAF,
which was a fantastic idea.
So if you can't get yourself a Yorkie or a Kit Kat, get a pint. I'm not saying you should all go out drinking, although I'm sure you will. So yeah, that's taking place next week.
It is indeed.
In order to pass a motion, the annual members meeting has to have 2% of the student population, which is 600. It's about 600 students. So your vote
really does count.
Really does count. 600 sounds like a lot, but when you think about how many students there actually are, that's not many people. So if you have a viewpoint or an opinion that you want to express, yeah, if you want to get a point, if you want to get a point across, then do turn up. And I think you can actually send someone to represent you, but you have to fill out a form. So have a look on the Student Union website, and you can actually find all the information you need about that.
You can submit a motion, your own motion, by an email to agm@cardiff.ac.uk, and the deadline for that is 12 p.m. on Friday, on the 15th of November. And I believe that's all on the annual members meeting.
It is. We actually have one more bit of information for you. We have just received some breaking news.
Breaking news, indeed.
This refers to the Cardiff University Football Club and an incident which took place a little while ago. And basically, I think from what we can gather from the little bit of information we received, the football club has been banned for the next 2 weeks on certain games and fixtures. This is due to an incident which took place. When was that? A couple of weeks ago?
It was a couple of weeks ago with the Dance Association.
RAD, I think it's referred to. I haven't yet had the pleasure of seeing any of their performances, so I'm not really an expert, but
and that incident occurred. They have been banned for 2 weeks. They are missing out on important games. I think Swansea actually has an automatic win on the game that
in the varsity event. At the moment, they're going to be banned unless they take part in sort of promotions of equality and stuff like that. Basically, the incident occurred at a presentation they had, and there was certain sort of sexist, demoralising sort of viewpoints, which
perhaps remarks, indeed.
Which obviously doesn't bode well. So that it was taken incredibly seriously by the student union, because they have a very strict policy on that sort of thing.
Zero tolerance
policy. So I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot more about that news story in the coming weeks. So
watch out for it. Indeed.
Keep an eye out for that one. So
and keep on CUTV News. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well,
and check out the previous videos on YouTube.
Indeed, and visit our website as well. Okay.
All right, so that's been us for CUTV News this week. If you quite like our presenting, we might be back in the future. Hopefully we won't be fired. I hope you've enjoyed the show. So
and we apologise again for the technical difficulties. This has been James Ellis and Tom Dexter.
Yeah, CUTV News. Thank you very much.
Good night.